think I should grab another weapon. Okay, dude, I'm gonna accidentally walk through fire and just die. Yeah, I need a weapon. Oh, here we go. So what do I have to do? I have to reach the airfield, of course. I'll wait for this focus. Whoa! Freaking auto aim. Stop it! Holy crap. It's literally a wall hack aimbot. That was so like weird. Oh, whoops. Sorry, Paulina. Really? The guy's still not dead. Okay, maybe he is. Oh.
All you wait. Sounds like they expected us. Hey, Lucas, you got a banger for me? Give him me best.
Oh, we got a breach and clear section. Not a Call of Duty game without it. Somebody help me. Oh.
If I never see Berlin again, it'll be too soon.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with you on something.
Glad we're all getting along.
Rising is right out of here, can't be far.
This is it. Our final innings.
Let's get this bastard. For Novak.
And for Richard.
This
I'll admit
ends today.
these transitions between the characters is kind of cool.
He's gotta be on the runway.
I feel like today I'm liking the game a lot more.
Brace yourselves!
But we have been like in more action than stealth, which is probably like the main reason why. Ouch. I was really annoyed with the game yesterday, but today things are going a lot better.
He's gotta be on the runway.
Smoke ahead!
So I was either in like not a great mood, or they kind of slowed down with the
Take down that Jaeger mortar!
they slowed down with the stealth. God damn it, they just always use smoke. You know how annoying that is?
Wait on you, boss!
I have the high ground now. Holy crap, dude. I wish my shotgun would do that.
Wait on you, boss!
Well, unfortunately, I don't know where they are.
Bring down that Jaeger mortar!
Move up! Still got got a sniper here!
Take them on the catwalk.
Dude, I can't. I just can't see where they are. And I'm just constantly getting shot.
Take them on the catwalk.
I'll do it! Let's move!
Oh, shit!
Dude, they are so annoying. Like, not only are we tanky, we can make ourselves invisible. I know they're just throwing smoke, but it's like basically the same thing. They basically make themselves invisible because I can't see them.
He's getting away. Help me with this.
Oh.
Come on then. We've got this.
There he is!
Oh, we have to capture him? Oh, game, you ruined my fun.
He's getting away. Help me with this.
What is this? Oh.
Grab the door, Arthur.
I'm coming. Don't worry.
Come on then. We've got this.
There he is!
Don't stop. Just run, Arthur. We're coming. Back off, wanker.
Well, I don't have the most speed here.
Grab it.
Am I literally supposed to just run through this?
Stop him!
He crashed?
Arthur, he's beside the plane. Almost got him.
Dude, what did... They stopped. Nope.
It's over.
You cannot kill me.
And yet here we are.
Not even the Allies would leave their decision to inferiors such as yourself.
We need him alive, boss. The intel he's got's what we came for.
Hey, shoot him or bring him. I'm starting this plane.
He'll never talk.
Get up.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to make a decision, aren't I?
The nations will make sure I'm well taken care of. As payment for my cooperation. A peaceful new beginning. A life of American luxury. Might suit me. Perhaps I might even start a new family.
Not for you.
Well.
There is no starting over. This is your new beginning. Fascist guys.
Look, if I don't have to make the decision, I'm... Oh.
You even know who I am! The value I can provide!
Burn!
Not worth it.
Yes. Well, I am not
Suppose
upset
that's
with
it
that.
then.
I probably could have
Let's
spared
get
him,
out.
but why not? We burn all the Nazis. Order and chaos.
Gonna be dicey. Just how I like it. Hi.
That's it. Let's take a look. The Cape Verde Islands, the Bahamas, Argentina.
Even Antarctica.
Christ. These bastards have been plotting covert operations all over the world. Right under our noses.
Hey, you lot. Give this a gander.
Here we go.
We hit the bloody jackpot.
Come on, dig in.
How about this? Project Nova.
I can beat it. Project Ether. Reviving the dead.
That's how you pronounce that word?
Does anyone want some Nazi gold?
Looks like we're gonna be busy. Keep going. Open them all.
Here you are. I was about to try this autopilot and come back. What's Project Aggregate?
Secret B2 rocket facility. You think you could fly one of those?
Ha! I can fly anything. Hang on back there.
Yeah, they're definitely setting this up for like a sequel or a
Our
bunch of
mission was
sequels.
complete, but there be more. Forged in the fires, we were the tip of the spear. We were the Vanguard.
Oh my god, dude. Called the Vanguard. Of course. Alright, let's try this again. So it's been about a week since I finished the campaign, and I've been trying to record my thoughts on the game, but it's just not going well. I end up rambling a little bit too much. But anyway, I've had some time to think about the campaign, and I've also been playing some more multiplayer, so now I can talk about both. Before I get into it, I will summarize, my general thoughts. So the campaign, I thought the story was kind of boring. It felt like I'd played it before, and the gameplay felt slow and sluggish for the most part. There were a couple missions that were kind of fun to play, kind of felt like a classic Call of Duty mission, but most of the missions were kind of like, meh, not that great. And the multiplayer is kind of in a bad state right now. There's a lot of balancing issues and a lot of visibility problems. There's just a lot of issues with the game, but if they fix these issues, I think Vanguard could be a decent Call of Duty, maybe even a good one, but I will get into that later. First, we're going to talk about the campaign. So for me, the most important thing with a campaign or any game is the gameplay. It has to be fun, it has to be good. Vanguard's gameplay is kind of not that great. At least for most of the game, the gameplay was kind of boring, it felt slow, and it felt sluggish. So there was a bunch of missions where you're kind of behind enemy lines, you're trying to sneak into a place with the squad or by yourself. One of those missions where it's like, get in, get out without being spotted. There's a lot of moments where it's just you versus an entire army. And those missions are kind of annoying because in order to get through that without having too many issues, you have to play slow and sneaky. You have to play stealthy. And I just don't like that type of gameplay. So that was a big problem for me. And it doesn't help that I played Battlefield 5 a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago. I was playing through the war stories on there, and I didn't really enjoy those because it was, the same thing. You're trying to sneak around an army, and if you get caught, you end up in this big gunfight situation where your chances of survival aren't that great. So playing through this game, I kind of had it felt very similar. So I just didn't like it that much. Now there were a couple of missions in the campaign that were kind of cool. That last mission I liked because it felt like a classic Call of Duty mission where you got your team and you're going through just trying to kill everybody. I don't know. It was just a lot of action. It didn't matter, like stealth didn't matter. You were just trying to push the enemy back and trying to get through. I liked it. It was just fun. And also the transitions were kind of cool too between characters, because you got to play as all the characters. And, you know, when you would switch to a different character, they kind of, I don't know, they made it feel fluid. I don't know. It was just kind of cool. There was also the mission with the Australian guys where, you know, just using a lot of explosives and pushing through the enemy. You know, as long as there's no stealth needed, I can enjoy a mission or enjoy a game. But a lot of the missions in this game, there was just too much stealth, and I didn't really care for it. And, you know, it's like you drop in behind enemy lines, you don't have a weapon, you kind of have to sneak around until you find one. It's just, I don't find that fun. So that's one of the main issues I had with the game. I also had an issue with the FOV. So in multiplayer, there is an FOV slider. So I generally play at like 100, 105 FOV, which, you know, kind of zooms out the camera a little bit so that you have more peripheral vision. But in the campaign, they don't have it. And I'm pretty sure they just didn't get around to adding it in, or they just forgot, or they're not planning on doing it. I don't know. Because in the beta, there was no FOV slider on console. And everybody was upset about it, so it's like, oh shit, we gotta add that in. So they did. The full game, the multiplayer has an FOV slider. But they never put it in the campaign, so now it feels like my face is 2 inches away from the screen, no peripheral vision, and it feels like I move slower. Because when you have a larger FOV, it feels like you're moving faster even though you're not. So it did make the game feel more sluggish because I couldn't change the FOV. So that was a big issue. And then the last big issue I had with this game is just the story wasn't very interesting to me. It didn't feel unique. You know, it felt like I'd played through this before. Like I was talking about Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 had war stories. You know, you go through these scenarios where you're playing as a certain character and you do a mission with them, or I think it was 3 missions. Well, it was like one big mission cut up into 3 parts. So you would go through that as that character, and they developed that character a little bit, and then that was it. And there were like 5 war stories, I think. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But yeah, it was just like introducing you to a character, right? So Vanguard is pretty much the same because they're introducing you to all these characters, they're talking about their background stories and stuff. But they're kind of tying it together with this like overarching story. Overarching or overarching? I don't know, whatever. There's like a main story that kind of ties it together, so at least there's that. But I really didn't care for it. I mean, the main goal of this game, I think, is just to introduce you to the Vanguard, and now they're gonna just make a bunch of sequels for them, because that's what the ending felt like. I'm glad that they're developing these characters, trying to make you learn more about them and care more about them, but at the end of the day, I really don't care that much. I mean, the main story of the game was supposed to be about, like, Project Phoenix. What is Project Phoenix? So, throughout the game, you're kind of getting a bunch of cutscenes, a lot of long cutscenes, like 10 to 15 minutes. Kind of ridiculous, another problem. You're getting a lot of cutscenes about, like, the interrogation, but a good majority of the missions were about backstories. I mean, they really didn't need that Project Phoenix story to be going on. The only purpose it had was to tie everything together and give a reason for why we're learning about these people's past. Like, that's the only purpose it had. And they could have changed it to anything and it wouldn't really matter. But towards the end of the game, apparently Project Phoenix is just a plot to overthrow the Third Reich and create the Fourth Reich. Which also kind of like, really? That seems a little bit too predictable. So, anyway, the main story of the game about Project Phoenix just seemed kind of irrelevant. And I guess the main story of the game should have been learning about the Vanguard. And this probably would have been better if this campaign was like the intro to an even bigger campaign. So, you know, one that's going to be like 20 to 30 hours long, like most single player games are nowadays. But they're not going to do that because, well, you have to sell more titles, so why not just make a bunch of sequels for this one? So that's probably what they're going to do, because there were a lot of stuff at the end there. You know, a lot of things they found in that chest that could lead to potential sequels, and yeah. Now, it would be really cool if, with the seasons they're going to have with Vanguard, if they release like an expansion to the campaign. So like, what if they release some campaign missions along with the seasons, and you get to experience more of the story? Then this campaign would make more sense, because it's like, oh, I know who these people are. Now I'm gonna be able to see what their adventures are gonna be like. You know, something like that. But no, we're gonna have to wait for the sequels and pay our $70 to see more of the campaign, which, again, I'm not really too interested in. I don't know. I just don't like when I learn about a story and then I find out that story was pretty much only meant to set up some sequels. I don't care for it. But anyway, it is a good thing that they're trying to develop characters, because apparently that's what a lot of people like nowadays. That's why The Last of Us was so popular. But in order to have good character development and still have a good game, you have to have good gameplay. So, I don't know, it feels like this game was more focused on setting up these characters rather than making a good Call of Duty campaign. And, you know, with the really long cutscenes, it feels like a lore dump, where there's just a bunch of stuff that happens, and then it's like, alright, we're gonna go look at this person's past. So, I don't know. I just couldn't get interested in the story, but I do like that they develop these characters, and I like that the characters feel different when you play as them. You know, Arthur's a leader, so he has like, he commands his squad. Paulina is a sharpshooter, and she has more stealth-based stuff. So when you play as her, she actually moves faster in stealth. Like if you crouch or if you're prone, you move faster than other characters would. And I like that. Her stealth sections were actually fun because she had faster movement. And she automatically like ducked under things, and I like that. I like it a lot. And then the Australian guy, he was an explosives expert, so you could see the arc of the grenade when you threw it. That arc would turn red when the grenade was about to go off. Little things like that were kind of cool. And then the pilot has awareness skills for some reason. I'm not sure how that works. But basically he would have a wall hack aimbot, and that was just like, I don't know. Doesn't really make sense. But whatever. Yeah, I just like that they all felt different. And a weird thing I noticed is there were a couple of other characters that got killed in the campaign. We didn't get to learn about any of their backstory. Because, well, who cares? They're dead. That's what it was like. Because there was that guy that was with Arthur. We saw him in, you know, Arthur's past. And that's pretty much all the character development we got for him. But it wasn't that special to me. So when he got killed, it was like, oh well. I really didn't care. And the guy we were playing at at the beginning of the game, I think his name was Novak. Apparently, he is the one who put the Vanguard together. I don't know if they explained that in the campaign, but I think he was the one that got everybody together. And then he ends up dying in the first mission, and it's like, okay. I don't know. It just seemed kind of weird. Maybe I just wasn't paying enough attention, but you know, the characters that ended up dying is like, I don't really care, because I don't know who they are. But anyway, the story for the campaign was just not that great. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of focus on developing the characters for sequels. That's pretty much what it is. And I don't like that. So, anyway, before I forget, I have to apologize for giving you guys some incorrect information during this playthrough. So, at one point I was talking about how you can level up weapons in the campaign, and that progress will carry over to multiplayer. That's not true. So, I don't know what happened, because after the first session, I went and looked at my weapons in multiplayer, and there was a bunch of attachments unlocked, and some of the weapons were higher level than I remember them being. So I thought, because I used the weapons in the campaign, they leveled up in the multiplayer. But apparently that's just not true. Because after I finished the campaign and I went and checked the weapons I had been using, none of them had made any progress. So I'm guessing the ones I saw in the first session, I had just picked up in multiplayer and used them a bit, and I just forgot about it, and that's how I leveled them up. Or maybe at one point you could have leveled up the weapons in the campaign, but Sledgehammer patched it or something. I don't know. But anyway, I apologize. You cannot level up weapons in the campaign. So just have to make that correction. And I'm sorry for being wrong about that. But it would have been so cool if you could just level up the weapons in the campaign, because leveling them up in multiplayer is just not very fun. The weapons are pretty much underpowered up until you start unlocking the good attachments, and that doesn't happen until like the last 10 levels of the gun. And the weapon leveling is extremely slow, so most of the time you're using the weapon, it's going to be underpowered and you're going to be at a big disadvantage. So it would have been nice if you could just level them up in the campaign a little bit and get through those earlier levels, but unfortunately you can't. So that'll lead us into the multiplayer, and I'll start with the weapon leveling and weapon balancing. So the weapon balancing isn't very good in this game. As of November, the STG is pretty much the best gun in the game. They did patch the Vital thing, where it would make the STG basically a two-shot weapon. I think? I don't know. But it's still really good. I mean, I'm still getting killed by that mostly. The MP40 is still pretty good. Apparently the bar can one-shot headshot with certain attachments. And that's really one of the main issues, is that some of these attachments are so good, but they're unlocked at the like max level for the weapon, which wouldn't be a big issue if you didn't have to spend all this time leveling up the weapon. I mean, you have to spend a lot of time leveling up these weapons, and most of the time the weapon isn't going to have the good attachments yet, because the good attachments are unlocked at the later levels. So you're pretty much at a significant disadvantage until you're near the end of the weapon leveling. So that creates a problem with weapon variety, because once you max out your weapon and you have the good attachments, why would you switch to something else? Because you're just going to have to go through all that suffering all over again. I think they need to make weapon leveling faster, or they have to nerf some of these attachments, especially the ones that will increase the amount of damage you do. I mean, there's attachments that'll increase damage done to the limbs, and there's other attachments and perks that will increase headshot damage, which isn't a good thing. I don't think there should be anything that affects the amount of damage a weapon can do. That's why they got rid of stopping power back in the day. I don't know why they brought it back, because basically that's what they did. So the way the weapons are designed in this game, they just want you to focus on one weapon and then use that weapon for the rest of Call of Duty. Because, you know, it's just gonna be so annoying to try to level up a different weapon when you have your maxed out STG. There's just no reason for variety anymore, and that's what kind of bothers me. And another thing that kind of upset me is they nerfed the shotguns, but I'm pretty sure they only nerfed the base shotguns. But I don't know for sure. So on Twitter there was this clip going around of like a 30-second V2 rocket, and some guy was he got a 30-second V2 rocket and he was using a shotgun. Now Sledgehammer saw that and we're like, oh, we're gonna exterminate shotguns or something. So they nerfed shotguns, and I think they nerfed the base damage, or you know, they nerfed the shotguns themselves. Even though one of the biggest problems with shotguns is the buck and slug attachment, which makes the range and damage a lot higher. So I just maxed out one of the shotguns, the revolving one, and for most of that weapon leveling, I couldn't get any kills. I was getting like 3-4 shot kills when it should be a one shot at close range at least, but no. Once I unlocked the buck and slug attachment and like level 60 or whatever, I started getting a lot of one shot kills. It started doing so much more damage. So if anything, they need to nerf these attachments that are making the guns overpowered instead of nerfing the guns themselves. Because I think if you use most of the weapons without attachments, they're probably not going to be super OP, but I don't know, I haven't been able to use that many weapons anyway, because most of the time I'm forced to switch to an STG or an MP40 so that I can actually compete. One of the things I enjoy doing most in Call of Duty is using a variety of weapons. So when I'm forced to use a certain weapon, an overpowered weapon just to compete, I don't enjoy that. And unfortunately, with the way the weapon leveling works, and not being able to have good attachments until later on, there's just no reason to use a variety of weapons. Because if you do, you're going to be at a disadvantage. So that's the main thing that bothers me with weapon leveling. And going back to what I was saying about that 30-second V2 rocket clip that was on Twitter or whatever, if you pay attention to that, you will notice that the enemies are getting killed as they spawn. So one of the main reasons why that V2 rocket happened is because of the spawn system. The spawns in this game are just really bad. I don't think you should have enemies spawning in front of you because, well, they don't have a chance to react. They're probably not even in the game yet when they spawn, but I don't know, that's the real issue there. I don't think the shotgun was the issue. I think it was just the spawns being terrible, which is just another big issue with this game. Some of the worst spawns I've ever seen, and I've been playing Call of Duty since like 2007 with COD 4. This is just some of the worst spawns I've ever seen. I've spawned in front of enemies, behind enemies, I've spawned in fire. I don't know. It's just bad. And I thought at some point in the past 14 years of me playing Call of Duty, the spawn issues weren't very bad, but I don't know, it just happens to come back. Maybe it's just because these maps are on the smaller side, which can make it a little bit harder to find a good spawn system. But still, some of these maps like Dome or Shipment, these maps were in COD 4 and World at War, and I don't remember the spawns being this bad. So, who knows. But at least you're near enemies more often, so you're getting into more gunfights, I guess. Whether it's a result of the spawns or the smaller maps, I don't know. But I guess I do like that the maps are smaller, because one of the issues I had with Modern Warfare was those maps were way too big. I mean, I would run around for like a minute or two in that game, never see anybody, and then I just end up getting shot in the back. In this game, I only need to run around for like 10 or 15 seconds. Most of the time, I can find an enemy in less time than that, so it does feel faster paced, but the game still is not a very fast-paced Call of Duty. There are certain options that you can choose in the matchmaking where you can choose like the pacing. So there's tactical, there's assault, and there's blitz pacing. Tactical is your like 6v6, 4v4 stuff. You know, you have smaller teams and the games are a lot slower. Blitz is like ground war type matches where you have big teams like 12v12 or something, and there's just a lot of enemies on the map, or there's a lot of players on the map, so there's constant gunfights, and that's what I like. More chaotic, it's faster paced, and that is one of the good things that Sledgehammer has done, is give us that option of what type of gameplay do we want. Assault is kind of in the middle of tactical and blitz, but I generally play blitz because it makes the game seem more fun. It also makes the game feel more like Call of Duty. But no matter what type of pacing you choose, playing defensively is probably the best way to do well in this game. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of choke points in the map, and all you have to do is sit there, camp, hold it down, and you will probably get more kills than you will deaths. If you run around more, well, you're gonna get killed by those people that are holding those choke points. Just like Modern Warfare, this game punishes aggressive play. If you run around too much, you will get shot by people who are camping. The attachments in this game have negative side effects like they did in Modern Warfare, and a lot of those will reduce your mobility. So you don't want to run around too much if you're going to feel like you're a tank. You're going to feel sluggish and everything because of the attachments on your weapon. So that also discourages aggressive play. If you care about doing well in this game, then this game is going to feel pretty boring because, like I said, in order to do well, you have to play defensively. If you want to run around and have that fast-paced Call of Duty gameplay, you have to play in the Blitz game mode, and you have to just not care about anything. That means you're going to be getting worse scores, your KD's not going to be as good, your win-loss is not going to be as good. But you know what? It doesn't really matter because, first of all, nobody can see your stats. Nobody can see your stats in this game, apparently. And it might be a good thing to have worse stats because then you'll be matched up against worse players. So I'm pretty sure this game uses EOMM, which is engagement optimized matchmaking. So what this will do is look at how you're playing. So if you're doing really well in some matches, then the game realizes, hey, this person is doing well. Before they start getting bored because they're always doing well, let's put them into some unwinnable matches. And then you start playing those unwinnable matches, start getting frustrated. The game is like, alright, before they get frustrated and rage quit, let's go ahead and put them in some easier lobbies. And then you get those magic lobbies for like a game or two. So if you're a worse player, you're probably gonna get into those easier lobbies a lot more often. So yeah, it might be a good thing to have worse stats. And that's why a lot of people reverse boost, where you basically tank your stats so that you get into those games that have some of the worst players ever. You can also exploit it by having a friend that you can join who's a bad player, and you get into their lobbies, and then you have them back out, and then you can feast on the noobs. It's pretty much the same system they used in Cold War, and for bad players, it's probably a good thing to have this type of matchmaking, but for good players, it really sucks. You don't even have to be that good. For average to above average players, this system isn't very good. If you're going to be going up against players who are just as good or better than you, then you have to give yourself every advantage by using the OP weapons or using the best weapons in the game. So that means you can't really experiment with using a variety of weapons. Going back to what I was saying about weapon leveling, it's too slow and your gun is going to be pretty underpowered up until like the last 10 levels. So you can't be using those weapons against these good players because you're just going to be at a disadvantage. So you're going to have to use the one weapon that you have maxed out, and you're always going to have to use that because you're going to be going up against good players most of the time. So EOMM basically just discourages using a variety of weapons, and I think that is a bad thing. Like I said, I like using a variety of weapons, but if I can't compete because I'm not using the OP weapons, then the game gets frustrating. EOMM should be either not in the game or just toned down, because it's not fun when you have to use the same weapons over and over again. It's also the reason why matchmaking takes so long nowadays. If you've ever wondered why you have to sit there and watch your character walk in place for like 2 or 3 minutes, it's because of EOMM. The game is trying to determine what type of match you're gonna have. It's not like the old days when you would search for a match and you'd be in a match within like 10 or 15 seconds. That was the nice thing about games like COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. You just immediately start playing. You didn't have to sit through all this nonsense. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is done on purpose so that you're looking at your character more often, and it's like, well, since I'm going to be looking at my character a lot, why not buy some skins? I really wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. And speaking of buying stuff, we also have MVP screens, which is probably going to lead to them selling stupid animation stuff in the store, in the battle pass, whatever, which is another big problem with this game, the MVP screens. So when I played the beta for this, I'm pretty sure the match would end, the scoreboard would show up, and then you'd be back in the lobby. And I was happy about that. And then the full game released. So now when you finish a match, you have to sit through a play of the game that doesn't work most of the time, and a really stupid MVP screen. And they'll show these characters doing some stupid animation. There's 3 top players, or 3 MVP nominees, I guess, and they show them doing a certain animation one after the other. So they show the first one, they go through their animation, they show the accolade, and they move on to the next player, do their animation and the accolade, and then the third player. And then you have to vote for the MVP. And you have like 20 or 30 seconds to vote. I don't know exactly how much time there is. I don't know what the timer is. But I'm pretty sure it's like 20 or 30 seconds where everybody gets a chance to vote. And all this is a big old waste of time. I don't know anybody who cares about being an MVP. I don't see anybody going like, oh wow, I'm the best player in the game, cool. No. Nobody cares. And I don't know anybody who's gonna look at somebody who gets MVP and is like, oh wow, I can't believe that, that's so cool. It's like, just a big old waste of time. Like I said, this is basically just another thing for them to sell. MVP animations. And I wouldn't be surprised if they use this as like, oh look, Vanguard is the most played Call of Duty of all time. Even though most of the time is spent either matchmaking or sitting through MVP screens. I would definitely not be surprised if they claim that people are spending so much time on this game, because at this point it feels like 70% of the time I'm either in the menu, matchmaking, or sitting through an MVP screen. Actual gameplay time, it feels like I'm playing the game maybe 30% of the time. So yeah, the MVP screen, definitely one of the worst things they've done. And like I said, the play of the game doesn't even work sometimes. Like, you know, you'll have a 5-person multi-kill or something, and they'll show that as the play of the game, but then they only show one of those kills, and then it just cuts off because the game just doesn't know how to record a play of the game, apparently. So the play of the game doesn't work most of the time. Sometimes the MVP screen doesn't even work because the players are invisible. So it's just unnecessary to have this. It's just a big waste of time. And sitting through these screens takes 1 to 2 minutes before you're back in the lobby and searching for the next match. And then you gotta wait another 2 to 3 minutes because matchmaking takes so long now. So the amount of time you have to wait in between matches is probably around 4 or 5 minutes. And that's so frustrating. All I want to do is play the game. I just want to play Call of Duty. But no, I have to sit through all this stuff. Really slow matchmaking because it's looking for a certain type of match to put you in instead of prioritizing your connection. Then you have to sit through some really stupid MVP screen. It's just such a waste of time. Now I think there are ways around the MVP screen, you could probably dashboard, restart the game, and start looking for a match. And it's probably around the same time it takes to sit through the MVP screen, maybe even a little faster. The fastest way is to session join somebody on your friends list, you end up in their lobby, and then you leave and you start looking for another match. I just can't believe that we have to waste so much time just waiting. That's a big problem. But anyway, I think those are the main issues I have with this game. There are a lot of other issues, like visibility. Visibility is still bad. So just like in Modern Warfare, you can't see enemies and you're basically just gonna be looking for name tags and shooting at those name tags. I've also had issues where I get disconnected from matches. That's been happening a lot. My game has crashed a couple times. There's just a lot of issues in this game that should have been solved before this game was released, and they probably would have been fixed if they had tested their game. Honestly, this game feels like a beta, maybe even an alpha, and we're the testers. So there's just too many problems for me to mention right now. But I think for now, I've covered most of the main problems. But yeah, multiplayer is not in a very good state right now. The campaign was kind of just boring and slow, and the zombies, I've heard, just isn't good at all. So yeah, right now, I would say do not buy Vanguard. Just don't. It's definitely not worth it. So that is going to be it for this playthrough. I apologize for rambling so much here. I've actually spent like 3 days trying to work on this end part here, this post-commentary stuff about what I think of the game. It's kind of hard because I ramble a lot and, you know, it's hard to get my thoughts together. But anyway, I'll try to put some gameplay here so that you have something to look at besides just the menu screen. It might not be great gameplay, but it'll be something. Anyway, like I said, that is going to be it for this playthrough. Let me know what you thought of the game or the playthrough with a rating and a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Let's Plays and stuff. And if you want to watch me play some Vanguard multiplayer live, I do stream over on Twitch. There's a link down in the description below. And I don't just stream multiplayer stuff, sometimes I'll stream some playthroughs as well. But anyway, that is going to be it for this playthrough. Again, just don't buy Vanguard right now. There's really nothing going for it. The campaign was like 4 to 5 hours. The multiplayer is just not in a good state right now, and there's just a lot of time spent waiting, and the zombies, I don't even know. From what I've heard, it's just not good. So again, just don't buy Vanguard now. Maybe wait a while. Maybe they'll fix things. I mean, it seems like Sledgehammer is listening. I think they might fix things. And if they do, maybe in a few months, the game will be somewhat decent. But we'll have to wait and see. But right now, just don't buy Vanguard. It's not worth it. So anyway, that's going to be it. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will talk to you all later.